Coming up next on the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Wednesday night, we take a look back at Monday's WWE Raw, a major announcement regarding PWR Radio, and we go in-depth looking back at our best Royal Rumble moments. We've also got 5 more names we're going to announce for the Pro Wrestling Report weekend in New York City, specifically at Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle. And all of that happens right here, right now, on PWR Primetime Wednesday night. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Wednesday night. It's the midweek delight. Damian Nelson's in here alongside David Octavius and Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time knockouts, straight edge, hardcore divas, knockouts,
edge, really?
Hall of Fame, champion, hero.
Yes.
In case you haven't been listening, straight edge has been in there for the last 2 weeks.
I don't really pay attention.
I mean, you sit here every week with your little I want to be CM Punk mask.
No, this is what I would wear if I was going to go watch CM Punk live. This will protect my beak.
What a night, what a show. It's so great to be back with you guys on a Wednesday and a stacked amount of information to share with you this week. But first, let's start off with this week's WWE Raw Report. And David, it was a bizarre episode of Raw this past Monday night in the fact that I don't know what they really did to convince me to buy the Royal Rumble on Sunday. Now, it's not like I'm not going to buy it, and we'll talk about some of the challenges with promotion of the Royal Rumble on Saturday's edition of the broadcast. But let's focus in on what happened on Raw this past Monday night. And one of the things that happened was The Rock being attacked by the Shield, which caused him to cough up a little blood.
Well, this go-home show was more like go to sleep. One of the saving...
So that's Punk's finisher. GTS?
That's what I'm talking
on
about.
On the T-shirts and stuff?
The Rock gets beat down by the Shield, which is exactly what they had to do. They had to get the Shield involved to show that, hey, because it was injustice. There was no justice letting The Rock come down the ramp buying a ticket. It may have been a nosebleed ticket, but he came down the ring anyhow to get his little shtick in on the go-home show. Shield beats him down. Why? What good is it? Now you got to figure the Shield, obviously Vinnie Mac will not let them get involved on Sunday's pay-per-view, which leaves the door open for maybe somebody else to get involved. Or maybe it just means The Rock and CM Punk will have the one-on-one match that we've all been waiting for the past, 6-7 months?
I'd say longer than that, because they've been sparring verbally.
They announced it in July.
They did, but they've been sparring verbally for a very long time.
It just makes it interesting, and we'll talk about
your hatred for Punk?
No. We'll talk about more on Be the Booker with Rock and Punk, but now there's no reason why Rock can't win. I mean, if the Shield's not going to be there, there's no way he's going to...
Or banned from participation.
The only thing that could happen is that there could be a DQ or a count-out finish, which would definitely drive everybody at home nuts.
Or what all the fans out in the interwebs are speculating about, which is another star coming back and getting involved in that matchup due to Vince McMahon specifically saying that the Shield couldn't interfere. It has led to rampant speculation that another part-time WWE superstar in the name of Brock Lesnar may get involved in that match.
But I don't see that happening, because I still believe it'll be Brock Lesnar against Triple H at WrestleMania.
Well, if you peel back the hysteria of Lesnar being involved in that matchup, and I'm not counting it out, what reason does he have?
Brock Lesnar?
He's got nothing with The Rock, except, remember though, there's that unfinished business from 2002 between The Rock, or 2004, whatever year it was, between The Rock and Brock, when The Rock lost the WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar and left WWE shortly thereafter at SummerSlam.
Right.
I consider that unfinished business. But that's a stretch even. They really have Brock Lesnar has no reason to get involved in that matchup.
No, none at all. It needs to be a clean, true match. It needs to be just, como se dice, what would you say, organic? You know, let just come,
I do eat all organic
come to
foods,
fruition in the whole thing.
Oh, you've been reading.
No,
Was that a stone, or?
I was borrowing your iPad earlier, and I saw your other stuff on there. But, yeah, watching Raw did not make me... If I was not going to be at Karma Bar and Grill on Sunday, I would not... I don't know if I'd be ordering the pay-per-view with the exception for one match, and that's Rock and Punk, just because I want to watch Rock. I could care less about the Rumble at this point.
The first hour of WWE Raw this past Monday night seemed like it was actually Monday Night Squash, as both Zack Ryder and Heath Slater got squashed by their competitors early in the episode of Raw. Zack Ryder, I mean, if you blinked, you didn't see him. Slater lasted maybe a little more time, but wow, things were pacing very bizarrely on Raw.
First of all, congratulations to Zack Ryder. You got 1 million Twitter followers.
And he's doing a concert outside the arena in Phoenix before the
that is
Royal
a
Rumble.
Humongous number. Humongous.
How do you know he has 1 million followers? Because I haven't heard it on WWE television.
No.
I know The Rock has a lot, Cena has a lot.
Listen, let me just say this. Where are all those Zack Ryder fanatics? Where are all those Zack Ryder Long Islanders that were there just burying me when I said he wasn't ready? He hasn't been ready all year, all last year. Now he's getting knocked out by the Big Show, and then Big Show buries him even more. There is no way for this kid to come back from this constant. It was Eve, then it was, John Cena. Everyone has buried the guy. As talented as he is, as popular as he is, as much merchandise as he sells, which is all heavily discounted right now, where does Zack Ryder go? Tell me. You're the Zack Ryder.
He still has his place.
He, right now, is the babyface version of the Brooklyn Brawler.
Brooklyn Brawler never had 1 million followers on Twitter, and still
but what
doesn't
I'm
have 1
saying
million
is
followers on Twitter.
You send him out knowing he's not going to win. You'll get something good out of him, but that's about it. And it's a shame because the guy had, last year at this time, had a ton of momentum going for him, and absolutely.
Are you upset because you weren't invited to be a part of the Hosky video?
Not at all. I wouldn't want to hang out with those Hoskies. Those are some of your friends.
Own Hoskies?
No, I do not. But poor Zack Ryder, and what's more frustrating is he's on Team Super Friends and has been on what? 1, maybe 2 pay-per-views the entire year?
Is that why you're losing? By hundreds of points?
I'm losing because...
Is that why you're getting Romneyed in this whole thing?
No, I am getting Romneyed. It's because there's been no Zack Ryder, there's been no Tensai, there's been no Mr.
And
Anderson.
already in the ring, Tensai.
Oh, poor Tensai. That's another one.
Where was Cody? Where was Damian Sandow to save us from the unwashed masses
It's
this
not
past Monday
even
night on
saving
Raw?
anybody. The fact of the matter is the #1 contenders for the WWF Tag Team Championships, unified big bronze pennies, don't even get mic time, don't even get to say anything to sell their match.
They did tonight on Main Event. They came down while the Usos were...
let me just say this. Main Event is a great show, doesn't matter. SmackDown, great show, doesn't matter. Raw is the flagship. That is the show we watch to get our fix going forward, sets the storylines, makes us want to buy something. There really isn't a go-home show on SmackDown, and there definitely isn't a go-home show on Main Event. Yeah, I'm right.
The Rumble tease that we've historically seen on Raw at the end of the broadcast on the week before the Rumble this week was, I like how they got there, but nobody cared.
You like how Cena rambled on?
No. The intros, primetime players coming down. Ain't nobody got time for that. And everybody coming down, and then the brawl. I mean, it wasn't a pure 6. It was more like a Lake House dock brawl to end Raw Monday night. And again, the crowd just didn't care.
Okay.
Remember though,
why didn't they care?
Remember in the past, that place would erupt for that pre-Rumble Rumble.
You know why they didn't care?
Why didn't they care?
Because they had Kurt Hawkins.
Cody was in it.
They had Kurt Hawkins. They had the primetime players. They had Great Khali.
Cena was out there. Ziggler was out there.
Right. No, Ziggler was not out there. Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Cena were the only 3 top stars in there.
But you made a comment about Randy Orton and what he said before he got involved in that melee.
Randy Orton is I don't believe Randy Orton's going to win. I don't. But he's the one guy I believe that could win.
Beat the Clock Challenge happened on Raw this past Monday night. Dolph Ziggler wins, but he ultimately gets screwed as he had to pick his number. But his options were picking number 1 or number 2.
I think that was brilliant because when I thought he got to pick his number, I'm like, how are they going to take the best athlete out of that match and put him in at number 30?
Yeah.
What a waste of his talent and potential. For Vicky to only, get hot about, Dolphy Z leaving her for AJ.
It opens the door, and we're going to talk about some of the best Royal Rumble moments in history later in this broadcast, but it opens the door, ladies and gentlemen, for the endorsed Dolph Ziggler to come in with that Money in the Bank briefcase at number 2.
Number 1.
And number 1, and become the man on his way to the main event at WrestleMania. An interesting statistic. I don't believe it's been since like 2004 or 5 that the winner of the Rumble has challenged for the WWE Championship. For the last several years, they've only challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship. Be that as it may, those main event championship matchups that are happening at the Rumble, which we will be the book on Saturday.
Why is that? Should I tell you why that is?
No, we're not paying nobody. Both got stipulations added to them this past Monday night. First of which being, if CM Punk and The Rock's matchup has interference from The Shield, CM Punk will lose the WWE Championship, and Big Show demanded that he and Alberto Del Rio have another last man standing match at the Royal Rumble this Sunday. Now, every single week on Monday nights, we ask you whether or not you thought the show deserved a pass or a failing grade. And, this week on Twitter, at PWR Show on Twitter, you all said that WWE Raw deserved another passing grade, this time 76% of you saying Raw was a pass, with 24% of you saying it was a fail. David Hero, you seem to disagree with that sentiment.
Yeah, I don't think Raw was a pass. On the premise of it being the go-home show, it was not a passing show.
Well, that's this week's WWE Raw report. And ladies and gentlemen, as we said this past Monday night on Twitter, as there was no meltdown this past Monday night, which was deliberate. It was a holiday, there was an inauguration.
Yeah,
and
I heard there was
Martin
some
Luther
lip
King Day.
syncing going on.
Do I have to explain this to you on air?
No, you don't have
Any
to.
great national anthem
just
you've
said
ever
you don't have
heard,
to. So why are you doing it?
Any great national anthem you've ever heard performed live has been recorded. Period. End of day. Whitney Houston, recorded, 1991.
Okay.
It's a timing issue.
So you're telling
Those
me,
of us who know about production.
You're telling me Alicia Keys, that
She
girl
lip
that's
synced.
on fire,
She lip synced.
is going to be lip syncing at the Super Bowl?
Absolutely no doubt about it. Madonna lip synced last year.
Really?
Absolutely. It's about time, of which you're making us run over. But since 2008, ladies and gentlemen, the Pro Wrestling Report has brought you weekly radio coverage of WWE Raw and pay-per-view events. And while we've had a successful run on the radio with nearly 2 million listeners so far on Blog Talk Radio. 2 million. The time has come to close the door on that chapter of the Pro Wrestling Report.
We're turning off the radio?
We're turning off the radio on Monday and Sunday nights. But we will still be covering Raw and pay-per-view events. Do you want to know how, David Hero?
Well,
this is huge.
If I'm going to be there, I would like to know about it.
We got to talk about your participation or lack thereof. We are excited, though, to announce a brand new venture coming to the Pro Wrestling Report called PWR Live, David Hero. Live. All the way live. Starting with this Sunday's Royal Rumble post show, the Pro Wrestling Report will be live on YouTube. Yes, indeed, YouTube. And we will launch this Sunday night after the Royal Rumble.
My goodness.
And we're going to be live on YouTube each and every Monday night as well, David Hero, for PWR Live. This new venture is going to allow you to enjoy the Pro
so
Wrestling
that means
Report.
they get to look at us on YouTube Live?
Absolutely.
You're not going to wear that little outfit, are you?
It's going to allow you to enjoy the Pro Wrestling Report much more. And all the features you've come to love will still be there. And as a matter of fact, they'll be enhanced. The live chat feature, the interactive features, all of that available starting this Sunday, 10 p.m. Central on our YouTube channel. And join us for the next revolution in professional wrestling coverage. YouTube.com/MaxSports. Or you can just go to PWRshow.com, click on the TV link. Live on YouTube, David Hero. WWE has, of course, done this with their pre-show. Well, after the show now, we are bringing it to a much larger audience and bringing it to you in video form, and that will be on YouTube. PWR Live launches Sunday after the Rumble.
So who's all going to be a part of this live show now?
Well, this Sunday night on PWR Live, it's going to be myself, of course, the host with the most and the Pro Wrestling Radio Host of the Year. And I'll be joined by Matthew Thomas and the man they call Meathead.
Meathead's going to be on and not me?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Strategic decision to replace you with him for that broadcast.
The Virgin
I'm giving
Voyage
you the
is
night
going
off,
to be a meathead?
like Sean gave Sid back in 1995.
Oh, and how'd that work out for both of them?
You can't powerbomb me.
Oh, my good gosh.
PWR Live launches this Sunday, PWRshow.com, and on our YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, though, we still have a lot to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report, including a major announcement, 5 more names
Whoa,
added
whoa, whoa,
to
wait,
Shenanigans
wait,
of the
wait. We're
Concrete
doing that
Jungle.
tonight?
We're doing that tonight. Shenanigans of the Concrete Jungle coming to WrestleMania weekend in New York. We go over the best Royal Rumble moments and a preview of what to expect this Saturday on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
The biggest party during WrestleMania weekend is coming to Manhattan. PWR presents Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle, hosted by Big Sexy Kevin Nash on Saturday, April 6th. The party starts right after the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony, just steps away from Madison Square Garden. VIP tickets include free drinks and more, and are only available in limited quantities. Get your tickets now for this tremendous Hall of Fame after party right across the street from Madison Square Garden. Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle, the only place to be after the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony, high above Manhattan in the historic Hotel Pennsylvania. It will be epic.
This Wednesday night, primetime television.
I said a preview of what's coming up this Saturday night on Primetime Television.
Raising your voice. So is Linda coming?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time Wednesday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and wow, David, big news. Big
Huge.
things cracking, if you will. More names announced to the Shenanigans party in New York.
Good
but before
God
we get to the
almighty.
5 epic names that have been added to that party, I want to talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble, which of course is this Saturday on pay-per-view, and it is looking at our best Royal.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Hey, Linda.
Linda
Hey.
K.
Hey, how are you?
good. Jameson from the mailroom was looking for in your office, said there was a special delivery from you from Oklahoma,
You hired a guy named Jameson?
from Jim Ross.
Hey, good old JR. He sent me that cookbook we were talking about. You know, JR's going to be in Milwaukee coming up in the
course-
next
of course I know
a few
about
weeks
it.
here. This is awesome.
There's more.
Are there chicken wings in here? Fried chicken?
There's more.
But wait, really?
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. I'm a good guy, David.
He doesn't
In a
wear-
white hat.
Does he wear a white hat?
No, he wears black.
Oh,
But he was talking about
he
sending
was
me a
worried
hat.
about contrasting of colors and with your
When we're on
sport
stage
coat.
together. This is, JR sent this to me. This is, look at this Stetson.
Ridiculous.
15 gallon. That's fantastic. Thank you, Linda. Tell Jameson he's fired, by the way, because, well, no, we'll keep him around. Just
Okay.
his name is great. I understand we're going to see you Saturday as well. You're sitting in for the cause.
Yes, I am.
Sitting in for the cause?
Woo! Tremendous. Linda K, thank
Oh,
you so
please,
much.
put
And
this
David, you
on.
know what I got to do?
Put this thing on.
Wait a minute. I saw JR wrote in here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, absolutely fine.
From
I've
your
gotta-
pal?
I've got to wear this. I'm going to be wearing this on the show until that big event in Milwaukee. JR, me and Gene Okerlund, Jerry the King Lawler, all coming to Milwaukee, Potawatomi Bingo
You know
Casino.
what's great about this hat?
What's that?
It hides the glare.
Good old JR. Thank you. It feels good. Need a headset now.
Yeah, you need something.
Don't be jealous.
I'm
You
not.
get
Trust
scarves
me.
and I get hats and a book.
That's
You know how
fine.
much it must cost ship this?
I have no idea.
Ship off. Best Royal Rumble moments, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about those now. And the Royal Rumble, been around for a long time, as you have heard the history of it. But let's talk about some of those things that you just remember when you hear that word Royal Rumble. And one of them being, you look back to 1994, David Hero, what got us to WrestleMania 10 and what would be the crowning of a new world champion. It was that confusion of the end of that matchup, the end of the Royal Rumble matchup, where Shawn Michaels, his feet never touched the floor. That was in '95, actually. I think I'm messing it up.
Well, that's okay. I knew where you were going with it.
Yeah.
I mean, Shawn Michaels. Well, but Bret Hart and Lex Luger. Let's not forget
exactly
that
where
one
both
also.
men were eliminated at the same time.
Yes, and then of course.
And the Fink doing the him and Tunney got involved, and there was all this confusion at the end of the broadcast as to who had won the Royal Rumble.
And how about John Cena and Batista? The same scenario,
2005.
but it wasn't supposed to go that way.
It was not at all. Batista got eliminated by mistake. Vince McMahon had to come out and clean things up.
And what happened when he came out to clean things up?
Quad 1, Quad 2,
Blew
both torn.
both of his quads.
Because he hadn't stretched beforehand, because he shouldn't. And go back and look at that, by the way. Vince comes down, throws his jacket down, gets in the ring, tears his quads immediately, and then sits there.
Yeah.
Sits there.
How
You don't
tough
even
is-
see the pain on his face.
No, not at all.
Sits there and makes it continue, keeps the Rumble going. The chaos at the end of that Rumble made it that much more exciting. So, again, lemons into lemonade. But what was not a lemon at all, but very surprising because of the legendary status that this person had. But remember back in 2002 when Maven eliminated The Undertaker
Yes.
in the Rumble.
But, let's not just talk about the Rumble match. How about The Undertaker versus Yokozuna in a casket match? Remember that when Chuck Norris got involved and all the heels run down to the ring and
Or let's not forget Undertaker Shawn Michaels or Kane Shawn Michaels in a casket match when the casket got set on fire. It was Undertaker Michaels. Casket got set on fire. Another classic JR moment. The casket's on fire!
Royal Rumble has traditionally been one of the greatest pay-per-views every year. And then there's this year.
95, Bam Bam Bigelow situation.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor
I
at
believe
WrestleMania.
that to be true. When Bam Bam and
Well,
Lawrence
remember
Taylor
how they
were
presented
pushing
it.
and
The guy,
shoving.
his representative at ringside, he's crazy, that guy. Vince McMahon goes off headset. You hear Jerry Lawler announce it. Vince makes the formal apology on air for what had just happened. Very well done. And what was also well done, like him or not, but a big return at number 30 in 2008 in Madison Square Garden. John Cena comes back.
No one knew he was even back there.
And he had injured. He'd been injured just previous to that and was not supposed to be back, but came back and did so in a massive way. And the pop that MSG gave John Cena was simply deafening.
Let's not forget when Edge came back.
Yeah.
And this year's Royal Rumble, I have been privy to
No, he hasn't.
negotiations that there's going to be quite a few more surprises showing up in Phoenix, Arizona.
Speaking of surprises, 2011, the man who's headlining the Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle Party returned to WWE, surprised by to everyone, big sexy Kevin Nash, but this time as Diesel, and the pop.
Ridiculous.
Absolutely amazing, and the reaction from everybody absolutely amazing. And we talk about the radio show and our transition to PWR Live. It was that next night on ESPN Radio that we had Kevin Nash on the broadcast.
He was
to tell
on
us
at
about
least
how
an
that
hour.
happened. Absolutely.
Great interview, talked about TNA and what it felt to be back in the Rumble, and that was his very first interview after the Rumble for him.
Absolutely, it was. And let's also talk about what I think to be the best Rumble of all time. And that would be going back to about 21 years ago, David Hero. And that was 1992.
Is that when we had Flair and Kerry Von Erich and Hogan? And
Yep.
That was stacked.
Stacked, absolutely stacked. Entering at number 2 or 3 was Ric Flair. He was the real world's champion.
I think
Rumble,
1 and 2 was Axe versus Smash.
this Rumble was to determine the new WWF champion.
Yes.
And
yes.
Ric Flair would win that Rumble and become the new WWF champion, but there were so many things happening outside of that that made it that much better.
Fair to Flair.
Firstly, fair to Flair. Heenan and Monsoon on commentary. 1992, by the way, was their best year ever. WrestleMania 8, SummerSlam 92. That was McMahon.
But you know what, though?
Also Royal Rumble 92.
WrestleMania 92, not to get off track, was
WrestleMania
supposed to
8.
be Hogan versus Flair. And they weren't happy with the house show buys.
Yep.
So they flipped it. Who would have thought that there's not been one WrestleMania that was headlined Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair?
Absolutely true. That, I think, the best Royal Rumble ever. And the promo after the match. Backstage, Heenan, Mr. Perfect, Ric Flair, greatest moment of his life. I believe Mean Gene conducted that interview.
The 4 legends right there.
Absolutely.
Absolute fantastic.
Royal Rumble 1992. We've gone over so many years of Rumble history, of course, not capturing all of them.
What's your
Vince
favorite
McMahon
one?
wins the Rumble
92?
in 99. Absolutely, 1992.
I would have to agree with that.
By and far. So many.
Most dominant Rumble competitor, Kane.
Kane?
11
Let's see,
elimination.
at 11.
You think Ryback's going to beat that number?
Perhaps.
know?
We'll find out Sunday on pay-per-view.
Who are you hoping that shows up on Sunday?
Who am I hoping that shows up on Sunday?
Yeah. Who would you be like pleasantly mark out moment surprised to see return to the Rumble? If you could pick anybody.
Well, let's think about the best ones. Mr. Perfect coming back, I think that was 03. We know that there are several people who they have the option to bring back who are employed by the company.
Well, there's going to be some
may or
super
may not be
friends in the
involved.
Rumble. There's no question.
You gotta wonder what's going on with a Brock Lesnar, even though I don't think he has any reason to be in the Rumble. We haven't seen Mark Henry in a very long time.
What?
He's been ready to come back. Maybe he's involved in the Rumble. The Rumble's so easy; anybody can get in it. Maybe a JBO participates.
X-Pac?
Maybe X-Pac participates. That's unlikely.
Very unlikely,
Maybe a Billy Gunn. Maybe a Road Dogg, as you talk about Degeneration X. There are so many options that they have, and you look back to the 1000th episode of Raw, maybe that gives us a hint of some of the people they may use in that particular event.
And then they're going to be in Las Vegas on Monday.
It's Raw Roulette.
Boy, it's going to be one hell of a 48 hours.
I'm missing them by a week. I'm going out to Vegas to close Bill's Gambling Hall. It closes on
I
February 4th.
am not surprised.
I'm going to watch the Super Bowl
Are
at
you
Bill's. and
ever
then I'm
in
not
town? You just got back from New York City?
doing all the work that needs to be done. I move, I shake. I fly jets, I ride in limos.
You shake, rattle, and roll?
No, I don't. I didn't
No?
come from Memphis.
It looks like it with that hat on.
Well, speaking of shaking, rattling, and rolling, there's going to be a lot of that going on in our Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle Party. Coming to Manhattan, right across the street from Madison Square Garden, right after a Hall of Fame induction ceremony presented by World Wrestling Entertainment.
Entertainment.
We've already announced that Kevin Nash will be headlining that event. However, we are prepared to share with you not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 names that have been added to the Shenanigans in the Concrete
You
Jungle
just
Party.
said 5.
5.
So let's go one night earlier,
Oh, very nice.
right?
Big Hall of Fame ceremony from the Pro Wrestling Report as we, off the heels of our Lifetime Achievement Award recipients, which include Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund, Axe and Smasher Demolition, and Kevin Nash.
So
First
the 5th one,
the
right?
5th one.
Number 5,
Hashtag.
hashtag 5.
We will induct King Kong Bundy, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Hall of Fame. That will happen Friday, April 5th as part of PWR's New York weekend. All happening right off Times Square in Manhattan, basically in Times Square at Hotel Pennsylvania. But back to
I'm
the
sorry
big
that I
event,
got you off track.
Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle. Those 5 names, ladies and gentlemen, and they're big. Joining us, the top floor ballroom overlooking Manhattan, New York City, Saturday, April 6th. From TNA Impact Wrestling, Robbie E. will be joining us.
Robbie E., of course.
Formerly a very visible member of the New York Giants.
Yes, yes.
At least
yes.
during
New York
non-play
City's very
times.
own.
New York City's very own Rebby Sky.
Rebby Sky
also
will be there.
will be there. From Ring of Honor Wrestling, Jay Lethal will be joining us.
You think he's going to bring one of his Ric Flair robes? Or
I hope he
Macho
brings one
Man?
of his Macho Man robes.
Ooh, photo ops. in the
Also
Macho Man
joining
robe.
us, ladies and gentlemen, formerly of ECW, formerly of WWE, formerly of TNA, currently of Ring of Honor, the Man Beast
The
Rhino.
Man Beast Rhino. That's fantastic.
Rhino was part of Shenanigans
Yes.
on South Beach last year. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, joining us as
You know
part
what?
of Shenanigans
You know what?
in the Concrete
you know,
Jungle.
You know what's great about Rhino?
What's that?
He's a great hugger. He loves to hug.
Matt Hardy.
Version 1, or are we going to get version 2?
I want version 3.0. 2.5?
But can you download that here?
Robbie E., Rebby Sky, Rhino, Jay Lethal, and Matt Hardy joining Kevin Nash, Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle, right after the WWE Hall of Fame induction
And I
ceremony
heard there's
across
more.
the street. And yes, indeed, you are correct. That is still a partial list, ladies and gentlemen. There are more names soon to be announced for the Shenanigans in the Concrete Jungle Party. Tickets are going very fast, and they're available now.
My
You can
good
get them
God
at
almighty.
pwrshow.com. What a night it's going to be.
It's going to be Jameson from the mailroom. Is he coming?
Jameson from Ireland is coming.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Coming
Never
up though
ends well.
this Saturday on the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time, we're gonna take a look back, or take a look at Sunday's Royal Rumble with Be the Booker, which should be very interesting, David. Here on a look at the bizarre promotion efforts, or the different promotion efforts or lack thereof for Sunday's Royal Rumble. We'll also take a look at tomorrow's TNA Impact. They got a lot of follow-up to do on the situation from last week where Taz was announced as part of Aces and Eights.
Is that with 1 Z or 2?
And the announcement of the greatest wrestling manager of all time. All of that will come this Saturday on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. David, with that, we are done. What a show. And we'll do it all again.
You know
in
what
just a
was
few
the
days.
best thing about this show tonight?
My hat from
Is
JR.
you kept
Good old JR.
You
He
kept
me a cookbook. He wrote to me. Look at that. That's JR.
Yeah. You were able to keep your hate in check tonight.
My
You
hate.
didn't- You didn't bury nobody.
My hate. Who do
You
I
didn't talk-
bury? Name one person I buried. Name one person I've ever said sucks or buries on this program. Do it. I ask you to do it now.
Ken Anderson, you
Oh,
buried
you
him
son of a bitch.
many
I've
times.
never done that. You know that. You are an asshole.
You
Your
do-
shirt
you-
should have
you
an
don't-
arrow up to your face.
You don't let me have the mic check anymore?
Because we don't have a budget for that anymore. You keep spending all the flip dang
Ken
money.
is not pleased.
I'm done. I don't want to argue with you, okay?
I wasn't arguing.
Can you
Is
please
my
lower
voice
your
been
tone,
raised?
lower your voice, and show me the respect that you should be showing, just like you should be showing it to the WWE champion, but you seem to
Are you
not know
there?
how to do that.
Cal,
for
bring
that
the
one,
car
ladies and
around.
gentlemen, this is Damian
Hurry up.
Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you Saturday night for Primetime
Cal's
Saturday.
bringing the car around.